Hello again, this is Huran will be with you this time with the European Central Bank. As you know, it's the central bank's week actually. Yesterday, we had Bank of Canada, then we had a central bank meeting in United States or Federal Reserve meeting, and early morning today, we had the Bank of Japan. Now we had a European Central Bank. Tomorrow we will have the Bank of England. Okay, we already talked about the Bank of Canada, Japanese Central Bank meeting, and also the Federal Reserve. Let's go and see what the European Central Bank decided. As it was what they expected, European Central Bank did no change in its policies and interest rates. It was what they expected, because already as it's the ECB statement also shows that the European economy somehow is fine. I mean, the economic growth is fine, and they mentioned that in their statement that economic growth is fine, the labor market is fine. I mean, we cannot say it's fine. I mean, the labor market is we can say actually is fine. Economic growth is we cannot say it's fine, but it's getting better while the inflation is somehow under control. Even thought it's slightly higher than central bank target. Let's go check see what exactly they said in the statement, and then we can go and check the data. So ECB in its statement mentioning that the inflation is remain close to its 2% target, and then they also mentioned that the labor market is fine, and they are following the economic data, while that inflation they say that it's not at 2%, but it's close to percent and it's stable. That what's important is that they believe that it's stable while other markets, other economic factors, also economic indicators also can somehow say it's acceptable. It's not, we cannot say it's good, but it's acceptable. So that's why they held the remain the K facility rate at 2% and other rates at 2.15 and 2.40% as the market widely expected. So we had no change in the data. So, but why the European Central Bank or ECB made this decision? Let's go look at that further. Unlike the Federal Reserve and Bank of Canada, in the Europe we didn't expect. I mean, there was not expectation for the rates. For I mean for the rates cut actually. Why? Because looking at the data, it shows that the inflation, for example, just the German inflation increasing by 0.3% monthly. As the biggest economy in the Eurozone, and we can say that inflation by 0.3% monthly growth is higher than previous months and expectations. On the annual rate, the inflation is around 2.3%, slightly higher than market expectation or central bank target. Looking at the other data, GDP growth for the third quarter expected to increase by 0.2%, while annually it can increase by 1.3%. Industrial sentiment, which fell by 10% previous months, in October fell by only 8.2%. On the other side, selling price expectations increased slightly, consumer inflation expectations slightly eased, so the inflation is somehow under control. Consumer confidence also getting slightly better from minus 14.9, but gets better to minus 14.2. Generally, what we can say is the economic data says that the current while the inflation is getting again, somehow the concern may increase again, especially with the ongoing trade tensions. The economic data shows that they can support this inflation. They can support this inflation. They can support these rates. That they can they can support this rate. So it's better if they focus more on the inflation, while the labor market at 6.3% is acceptable rate for the unemployment rate in the Eurozone. As the market reaction, since we had no surprise in the decision and the policies, market also somehow ignored this meeting and ignored the decision. Looking at the Euro USD chart, we can see that the Euro is weakening against. Sorry, let's see the chart. We can see that the Euro weakening against the dollar, and Euro USD is a downtrend. But this downtrend of the Euro USD is not because of the European Central Bank decision. As you can see in the dollar index, it's because of the dollar getting stronger. And these two big candles and movements that you can see in a dollar chart, US dollar chart, you can see the negative side, negative reaction in the European currency chart, in the euro chart. You can see those two big candles. You can see exactly here. That's why the euro USD is moving in a slightly downtrend. I guess it's not such a big slide. Slightly, it's somehow bigger, slightly bigger than slightly. Yeah, so the ECB, the Euro USD is in a downtrend, we can say, for now, mostly because of the dollar getting stronger. But as the market reaction, as the European Central Bank had no surprise, we can see that the euro also can ignore this decision. Same thing we can see in the stock market as well. For example, if you check the Euro 50 chart, you can see that the Euro 50 is down, is slightly getting weaker, not because of the ECB decision. It's somehow that we can say that they are going the same way that the S&P 500, NASDAQ, and Dow Jones goes. I mean, that they are following the overall they are following the overall discipline because of the earnings that is coming right now. But generally, they are following the overall market trend. I mean, the S&P 500 and the US Nasdaq also they are slightly easing. We can see the same trend in the Euro 50 chart and generally the European stock market as well. But generally, what we can say here that European Central Bank had no surprise in a decision. They didn't make any specific decision to change the market. So the market somehow ignoring this decision, and they are not taking this decision seriously. Same thing we can see in the stock market chart, in the European stocks, and same thing we can see in the European currency, in the Euro USD chart. As other markets, I can say that generally the European Central Bank decision doesn't affect other markets, including, for example, it doesn't affect the gold chart. Gold is already getting stronger despite stronger dollar index. Gold also getting stronger, mostly because of the money that gets flow out of the stock markets. They're seeking for the safe havens, which is gold can be one of them. Same thing we can see for about the silver. But the other markets, for example, for the oil, European Central Bank decision doesn't affect the oil market. European Central Bank doesn't affect the cryptocurrency market as well. The Bitcoin chart, which was falling down, is continuing falling down. This decision cannot make any specific change in crypto chart as well. That was the European Central Bank decision. The reason behind of this decision and market effect. If you had any other question, don't forget to write in the comment section. I will try to get back to you as soon as I can. Have a good time. Bye-bye.